Hello friends, this is Carrie and welcome back to I Like Reddit channel. I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. I hope you all had a great weekend, or if this is sometime in the future, had a great week. If not, I hope it gets better. Anywho, today we have 5 stories out of the Entitled Parents subreddit. Let's begin. Our first post is by Skarma94. Entitled Mother almost gets her children killed. Okay, so this happened last summer here in Australia, and I've recently found the police report again. I'm writing this on mobile, so I'm trying to be as quick as I can, and I'm going to generalize a lot. If you would like something cleared up, I can do that too. Also, not entirely sure if this belongs here, mods. If it doesn't, please remove it and let me know. Mid-January over here in Australia is dead of summer. It can easily get to 40 degrees Celsius here, that's 104 degrees Fahrenheit. I was doing my shopping, was about to do it, when I walked past a car parked in the parking lot that caught my eye. It was a standard looking sedan, but what actually caught my eye was the 2 children sitting in the back seat. One of them had a bloody nose with blood gushing out. Looked like he had been beaten half to death. I called 000, which is Australia's 911, and immediately asked for the police. I told them very quickly what was going on and asked for permission to break the window, while already taking my shirt off to protect my fist. They actually said no, because that's property damage. I'm not quite convinced that they fully understood what was happening because of my panicked explanation of the situation. I said that I was doing it anyway because the longer I wait, the higher likeliness that the kids would be dead. I think it finally clicked and clued into what was going on, and said the ambulance had been radioed by the cops who were on their way. I told the kids at least to close their eyes and try and shield themselves before any way they could, and then BAM! Down goes the window. I'd attracted a small crowd at this point from my yelling into the phone, but I was for the most part ignoring them. I opened the door, and a nice couple had helped me get the kids out and into the air conditioning of the shopping center. Long story short, yes, the cops arrived. Yes, the mother of the kids found her kids severely dehydrated and on the floor, unconscious. She started swearing up a storm, demanding to know who had done this to her precious babies. Yes, I told her, "You did it, you dumb witch." Then I put my shirt back on. Yes, she found out who smashed her window. Yes, she tried to have me sued and charged. The cop, a father of 2 girls, I later found out, had torn her a brand new a-hole and told her to shove the claims up her butt. I was warned half-heartedly not to break windows again, but unofficially thanked by the police. Stop leaving your children in hot vehicles. Too long didn't read. Idiot woman nearly kills her children by leaving them in a hot car. Our next story is by Satire Bassist. My EM was afraid of doctors and I nearly died from a muscle cramp. My mother, the EM of our tale, grew up in a household that didn't believe in doctors or going to the hospital. This translated to an irrational fear of hospitals for my EM. At the time of the story, I was 14, in high school, and about to have a very bad day. I should start by saying that my EM lives exactly 1 mile from the closest emergency room. Also, my siblings and father were out of town for a competition that weekend. I didn't feel like going to another cheerleading competition, so I stayed home. I get home from school on Friday around 4 p.m. I call my entitled mother to tell her that I don't feel so well and I think I need to see a doctor. My entitled mother says she has a 1-hour workout with her personal trainer, who happens to train the whole family for our sports teams. My entitled mother tells me that she will come home right after and take me to the pediatrician. 4:40 p.m. I call my entitled mother saying that something is seriously wrong with me and I really think I need to go to the hospital. She tells me that personal trainer just had a cancellation and that she is staying for another hour workout and then she will take me to the doctor. 5:10 p.m. I call my entitled mother, beg her to come home because I'm in a lot of pain and feel terrible. She gives the phone over to the personal trainer who says, "It sounds like a muscle cramp from our workout last week. You'll be fine, buddy." She says she will call our friendly neighbor, FN, across the street to check on me. 10 minutes later, I hear a friendly neighbor walk through the door and come into my room to check me out. I'm on the floor because I fell going to the bathroom and couldn't get up. She helps me into bed and immediately calls my entitled mother. The conversation goes something like this. Friendly neighbor: "Hey, EM, I think you need to get home as soon as possible. Your son is white as a sheet and sweating bullets. Also, he's in a lot of pain and can barely move." EM: Oh, I'm sure he's fine. It's probably just overreacting from the muscle cramp that personal trainer said. Friendly neighbor. This isn't just a muscle cramp. He needs to see a doctor. I can put him in my car and meet you at Hospital ER, only 1 mile away. EM. No need for that. I'll finish up here and head home to take him to the doctor. Click. 5:45 p.m. Friendly neighbor calls EM again, and the EM says, she's in the changing room and will be home in 10 minutes. The gym is pretty close. 6:20 p.m. EM finally gets home. Friendly neighbor tells her what's been going on and says, I need to go to the ER. EM says that she's taking me to see our pediatrician. EM takes me to see our pediatrician, who runs a pediatric ER. The problem is, the doctor's office is a 25-mile drive away with zero traffic. We're at the peak of rush hour, 7:15-ish p.m. We get to the pediatric ER and they immediately take me into the back to see what's wrong. Turns out I have an acute appendicitis. It's close to bursting, and so they need to send me over to hospital 1 mile away from my house to get it removed. The entire time, my entitled mother is murmuring about needing to get ready for trial the next day. She's a divorce lawyer. And how I'll probably be fine, I just need to sleep it off. Then there comes the moment when EM is out of the room, but I have a doctor and a nurse in the room with me. I tell them the whole story about how I've been trying to get her to take me to the ER since 4 p.m. and how we lived a mile away from that hospital they wanted to send me to. But my entitled mother decided to go here because she hates big hospitals. The doctor didn't really believe me until I told him to MapQuest, yeah I know, old school, my address relative to the hospital. I managed to convince them to call for an ambulance to transport me to the hospital to make sure I got there. After my surgery, the nurse told me that my appendix burst as they began doing surgery, so they had to be quick about it. To this day, I still tease personal trainer every time I see him by grabbing my side and saying, "Ugh, I think it's a muscle cramp." I've never heard him use those words together since. If you're enjoying the content so far, please put a heart emoji in the comments section down below. Our next story is by Blueberry Sands 89. Entitled Dad follows a 12-year-old home from school. Characters: ED, entitled Dad; EB, entitled Brat; LB, little brother; M, mom; me, well, me. So this just happened less than an hour ago. My brother is 12 years old and is on the autism spectrum, and he came home in a panic, pounding on my bedroom door and waking me up from a nap. I asked him, "What's up?" And he begins frantically explaining that at school he was standing up for a friend who was being bullied by the entitled Brat, and that the entitled Brat and his dad had followed him home. I'm half asleep at this point, and I simply tell him that it'd be better for him to just let our mom know. He bolts towards my mom's room and begins to explain. Once I've left my bedroom, I find my brother talking to our mom, who has a gun safe, out and loading up the pistol. Apparently, the entitled dad is outside the door waiting for someone to answer, pounding on it every few minutes. Our mom eventually answers the door, pistol in pocket, and ready to grab it, demanding to know who this guy is and what he wants. The entitled dad starts spewing BS about how my brother cussing him out and flipping him off, to which my mother responds with, "So you followed a 12-year-old autistic child home?" The entitled dad responded with, "Well, how was I supposed to know he was autistic?" You don't follow a 12-year-old home, period. Now get the hell out of here, and if you come back, I'll call the cops and answer with my gun out. Edie walks away backward like a Chad and goes, "Ooh, I'm so scared." My mom immediately responds by pulling the gun out to show it to him. It's right here, to which he shuts up and leaves with the entitled Brat. My brother has since calmed down, however, he is hesitant to go back outside in fear that they're waiting for him. Our next story is posted by Russian Ann B. Daughter was 6 hours late to an interview. Entitled mother yells at me for making her cry. Hello everyone, I'm a longtime lurker here. Never thought I'd actually run into an entitled mother, but here we are. So I'm 20, female. I'm a dog groomer. I've been one for 4, almost 5 years. The big thing in dog grooming is reputation, quality, and time management. Yesterday we were expecting a girl to come in at 10 a.m. to try out as a dog groomer. She was promising, 23 or 25 years old, working as a dog groomer at other places. She didn't show up until 4:30. No call, no nothing. She apparently had a hair appointment, and then friends from out of town came in and they got their nails done. She asked if she could groom now. I said no, I don't think so. When she pressed, I said, I might be a jerk for saying this. We don't want you or need you. There's no need to reschedule you to try you out. I went back to get my last 2 dogs done. Apparently she cried and I started to feel bad. Now EM time. Her mother came in this morning demanding we give her a second chance. I told her, your daughter was 6.5 hours late. That's not something that works in dog grooming. The EM replied, she was with friends. I would think someone your age would understand that. Me, not when there's a job interview. She didn't call or anything. At this point, I was just ticked and over it. I have 5 dogs to get done. She said, well, there was no reason to make her cry. I said, I disagree and got back to work. Apparently she stayed up there and demanded that I give her another shot. As the head dog groomer, I said, not gonna happen. She left, eventually saying that her daughter was too good for us. Our final story is posted by Amy47101, entitled Mother Became Enraged Because Our Food Program Was Cancelled. That food program was a charity of a teacher who passed away. Context: this woman had been a problem parent at the center for a long time, for as long as her 5-year-old, Molly, had been there. The girl started as an infant in our baby room, so that's 5 years of this woman. This EM is not a good person. She would not pack lunches for her daughter. She would often send her 13-year-old to bring Molly into the daycare because she didn't want to. At least 3 times a week, a teacher had to give the child a bath in the sink, and when she was too big, a sponge bath because she smelled so bad. Yes, we called CPS. I'm not sure what came of it, but I know that Molly is still in this woman's custody. It was awful, but there was one saving grace this girl could look to: Jenny. Jenny was the sweetest woman you would ever meet. She worked in one of the preschool classrooms, but her heart was so big and open that she extended her kindness to all children. Every time Molly came in without a lunch, Jenny would make sure that she had food, even if it meant driving to a local Walmart or country fair to get her a sandwich. Eventually, Jenny began bringing food in personally for Molly because Molly's entitled mother never packed her lunch. Jenny died suddenly and unexpectedly in 2019. She was young, just barely over 30. EM kept bringing Molly in without lunches, and up until COVID hit, it was an ongoing battle that finally came to a head yesterday. Molly came in at 10:30 yesterday, which was too late for breakfast. In the preschool classroom, we kept them on a schedule, and breakfast ends at 8:30, while they get their snack at 10 a.m. Molly had a snack, and lunch started at noon. When the teacher opened the lunchbox to prepare her food for lunch, she noticed that there was breakfast there. She decided politely to remind Molly's mother that breakfast ends at 8:30, and if she was planning on bringing her in late, to please have her eat before she comes in, because things are already in the full swing in the classroom. This was done through the childcare app that we use to communicate with parents. Well, the entitled mother did not like that and called the center screaming at our assistant director, AD. This lasted for 10 minutes, and the pregnant assistant director came into my classroom, the infant room, angry at all of this. She cooled down and went back to her office. The offices are right next to my room, so I was being somewhat nosy and listening in. EM came in to pick up Molly, effectively pulling her from the center. There she got into a shouting match with the assistant director. Wouldn't you be upset if they weren't feeding your baby? Wouldn't you want justice and people held accountable? That's when the director, D, stepped in and told the assistant director to check on the other classrooms. Translation: you don't have to listen to this. I'll handle it. Director then followed up with, personally, I would make sure that my child ate breakfast before bringing her in. Assistant director left at this point. The EM was throwing a fit about how she didn't like the teachers here and how she thought Tiana, the preschool teacher for the 4/5-year-olds, was a raging witch and how she didn't like her since the beginning and how a lot of parents pulled their kids because of her. The thing is, she was confusing Tiana with Tessa, a younger preschool teacher for the 3/4-year-olds. Tessa, admittedly, is a strict woman, but her strictness is countered with kindness and positive reinforcement. The EM was so out of touch with her daughter's providers that she never got to meet Tiana. Finally, she delivered the zinger everyone knew was coming, but hoped that she had enough class to refrain from saying. You stopped doing the food program when Jenny died. I think you are just too selfish and too cheap to honor her memory by continuing it. To which the director finally stood up and said Jenny was the food program. She bought that food for Molly out of her own pocket, with her own money, that she earned caring for children here. The reason this so-called food program stopped was because Jenny died. To which the entitled mother doubled down with, well, why don't you guys continue to buy food for the children in her honor? director because we don't have the budget to allocate funds for a food program. And in addition, in our handbook, it states that we only provide snacks. We would need a whole other set of clearance and regulations to start serving food here like a cafeteria. EM, but you did it when Jenny was here. The argument continued back and forth like that until finally the director basically said that this is the second outburst that the entitled mother had and that they could no longer accept Molly at the center with this continued behavior. The EM needed to get her last word in and finished with, "Fine, I don't want to send my child to a place that starves her." Then she left with Molly. My heart breaks for the child, but there's not much we can do. I just can't believe how classless you have to be in one argument to bring up a beloved, saintly person like Jenny, and then basically insinuate that our wonderful assistant director was going to be a bad mother while acting like we are still somehow the a-holes for canceling a non-existent food program. Edit. I wanted to say a few things, because apparently I wasn't clear enough. First, Molly had both breakfast and lunch in her lunchbox. Tiana assumed that she ate breakfast at home since she came in at 10 o'clock, but didn't know that there was a breakfast in the lunchbox. Molly had and ate lunch that day. The breakfast was sent home. Secondly, CPS was called when Molly was an infant, when she was about 2 or 3. I can't remember exactly because I wasn't the one that made the call. Both times nothing came of it. However, Molly was clean coming in, and her mother is begrudgingly packing her lunches. Thirdly, a lot of you are wanting me to contact CPS a third time. I personally do not have the information available to make the proper report. Full name, address, legal guardian, updated phone number, and things like that. I can, however, talk to Tiana, who was her teacher. I know Tiana is considering calling CPS again, but she didn't disclose the reason to me. Tiana has a lot more info and insight into the situation than I do. I teach in an entirely separate classroom and only got the story because it was so public, and of course, considering that she was yelling at a pregnant assistant director who wouldn't want to know why. I will update this if I get a confirmation on what Tiana plans to do. That's all the stories I have for today. Links to the original Reddit post will be in the description box below. Please stop on by Reddit to show the OP some love and an upvote. If you enjoy my videos, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to let you know when I upload new videos. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.